Coming up on Mount News this morning, the search continues for a Kentucky mother who went missing nearly 3 years ago. And it was a violent weekend for one Kentucky city as a shooter leaves a group of teenagers with serious injuries.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News this morning.
Good morning, 5:32. I'm Dakota Makris. Thanks so much for joining us on this Monday. But before we go over to Brandon, I have a short little story to tell you all. So actually, you can pull Brandon up if you want to. So last night, I thought a bird was chirping all night. All night, I thought it was a bird chirping. I couldn't go to sleep. I didn't go to sleep until like 11 o'clock. But then I go downstairs this morning and I open up our back door. There's a little kitten sitting on like the retaining wall. And so I've called up the search party to get the kitten. Yeah, but that's what it was. And now I feel bad because it sat out there all night and I thought it was a bird. And here I was getting mad at a bird and it was a kitten. So, but we're going to take care of the kitten, make sure it's good before all the heat comes.
Exactly.
So,
get it inside, get it cooled down because it's going to be a scorcher today and even worse later this week. Let's take a look and see what's going on this morning. Not a whole lot, but a few pockets of rain. Nothing severe. Okay, now we are all under some kind of severe risk for today, especially up toward the I-64 corridor, but it's a low-end threat. Not expecting a whole lot. We'll keep a close eye on it, though, for you there. A mix of sun and clouds this morning, so a big, beautiful moon a little earlier on my way in, but it looks like the clouds are starting to move in just a hair there this morning. We're also going to continue to see, again, the possibility for a little cloud cover at some times during the day. 62 Clintwood to 75. Let me double check that. Yep, 75 in Jackson and Somerset. That's our range this morning, and it is muggy out there. That is for sure. Your day planner for today, back and forth with those rain chances. Scattered is the key word to remember on that. And again, topping out in the low 90s this afternoon for daytime highs. So it is going to be a scorcher out there. Make sure that you keep your heat precautions in place for sure. Dakota?
All right, Brandon, thank you. Well, police have revealed the identity of the man killed in a motorcycle crash in Carter County Saturday. Troopers say 62-year-old Thomas Higgins from Alabama died after a deer ran into the road and hit his motorcycle. Higgins lost control and crashed into the guardrail. It happened near the 161 mile marker on I-64 West near Olive Hill. Troopers say the impact sent Higgins into the road where he died from his injuries. He was wearing a helmet at the time of the crash. It's been almost 3 years since Louisville mother Andrea Knabel was last seen alive, but the search hasn't stopped. Her family spent the weekend working with the Community United effort, searching for any sign of her. They brought in a dozen cadaver dogs to search 12 specific areas. The goal of the weekend-long look was to have areas cleared so the Knabels don't have to worry about them anymore as the family continues looking for answers.
I think she was able to reach somebody she knew and went off into the darkness and something awful happened.
Anyone with information is asked to call LMPD. Well, 5 teenagers were shot Saturday night in Louisville. Police say the shooting happened at the Big Four Bridge downtown near the Ohio River. Officers arriving to the scene found 3 teenagers who were wounded. 2 other teens took themselves to a hospital with gunshot wounds. Police say some of the victims have injuries that are life-threatening.
This is a family area. I mean, we want it to stay a family area. But at this time, you know, we're seeing a lot of juveniles down here that are being unsupervised. All kinds of things are occurring that if a parent was here that could possibly deter that, it would be very helpful on our end.
Regardless.
Well, this was the second shooting near the Big Four Bridge in less than a week. A March for Our Lives rally was held at the state capitol, was just one of many held across the country during the weekend. Julia Sander was at the capitol to talk with some people who are feeling the personal impacts of gun violence.
Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Kentuckians chanted from the front steps of the Capitol loud and clear. The rise of gun violence in the state is causing some activists to speak out.
They put no restrictions, no regulations, nothing. And so something has to be done. We've got to save the kids.
Posters and signs were held high as people listened to speakers' remarks on the recent tragedies that shook the nation and the community. One father, Jose Pagan, says he can't imagine that type of loss.
To put your son on that bus that day and see them and then expect to come back to them and begin summer vacation and not. I can only imagine what that feels like.
Those involved in the rally called on Kentucky lawmakers to make changes, including background checks and more limitations. Although some people are here to support the cause against gun violence, some of the people here were directly affected. Wantrese Proctor lost her son to gun violence in 2020.
He was 17. He was a senior at Carter G Academy. He had a job. He played football. He was headed in the right direction like the rest of my children. He was on his way to college.
She says it's a day-to-day struggle, but she remembers her son as a smart and funny kid who is just living his life. Wantrese, along with others at the rally, shared the idea that these tragedies can happen to anyone.
I will be at every rally. When the call is called, I will be there because I will always fight. I will always be Michael Proctor's voice, always.
In Frankfort, Julia Sandor, WKYT.
Organizations like Moms Demand Action in Kentucky and March for Our Lives hope to spread their message to stop gun violence at rallies like this one. Well, organizers say 40,000 people turned out for the March for Our Lives rally in Washington, D.C. Saturday. March for Our Lives was founded by the teens who survived the mass shooting at a Parkland, Florida high school in 2018. The group also scheduled rallies in more than 400 U.S. cities Saturday, covering nearly all of the 50 U.S. states. Well, officials with the Whitley County Sheriff's Department are asking for your help in finding a stolen trailer. Officers say the trailer was believed to be stolen around 2:30 p.m. on Sunday from Greenland Baptist Church. Police are looking for a dark-colored Chevy truck with a camper top and a blue van connected to the theft. The cars were last seen on the Cumberland Falls Highway going towards Corbin. If you have any information, you can call the Whitley County Sheriff's Department. Well, during the weekend, people across the state celebrated Women Veterans Day, a day meant not to separate women veterans, but to recognize their service and war efforts. Grayson Passmore has more from veterans about what this day means to them.
It just gives me goosebumps and it brings tears to my eyes.
Yeah, I said I was coming no matter what to this one.
As a veteran, it means a lot to me.
History was made in Kentucky Saturday night as a crowd of close to 2,000 people gathered in the Bluegrass Airport to welcome home the first all-woman honor flight. A way to give veterans the recognition for their service they deserve.
Very wonderful to spend the day with all of the other female veterans and hear their stories and just so many female veterans from Kentucky. It was amazing.
Navy veteran Davina Warner joined more than 130 other women veterans flying to D.C. and back. Across the nation, there are almost 2 million women veterans. And as of June 12, 2018, 14 states celebrate Women's Veterans Day, including Kentucky.
It is quite the opposite from when we came home from Vietnam. It's a very good thing to see people respecting veterans because being in the service is a challenge.
And it's been an even greater challenge for women in the service to gain the recognition they deserve.
During World War II, we had female pilots. There were 2,000 or 3,000 of them.
Even then, it wasn't until President Harry Truman signed the Women's Armed Services Integration Act on June 12, 1948, finally granting women the right to serve as permanent members of the armed forces. And 70 years later, Women's Veterans Day finally begins to be celebrated.
It was just so wonderful to see how many people here in the Commonwealth were supportive of those female veterans.
In Lexington, Grayson Passmore, WKYT.
Well, in honor of Women Veterans Day, Governor Andy Beshear tweeted, quote, "On Women Veterans Day, let us honor the tremendous sacrifices our women in uniform have made today and every day," end quote. Well, if you're looking for a way to get out of the heat and have some summer fun, a new water park may just be right for you. A new inflatable water park opened in Louisa at the Cove Water and Inflatable Water Park and Slide. General admission to the park and beach is just $1, but it's a little more if you want to hang out on the inflatable. $5 for kids and $8 for adults. Kayaks are also available for rent. Well, a local food truck is combining a cookout favorite with some strange toppings. Weird as Hot Dogs serves crazy concoctions across the region, and owner Richard Burchett says it gives folks throughout the region an opportunity to have fun with their food and have a new experience. Hot dogs like the Big Marsh, the Serial Killer, and the PB&J dog are just some of the odd combos Burchett has come up with, and he says all of them are inspired firstly by taste and secondly by his inner child.
But yeah, you could talk to my mother and she'd probably say that, you know, that boy mixed everything in the world together when he was a child. And, you know, that kind of followed me through adult. I just never gave up on that because, you know, I'm a big kid at heart, you know what I mean? I've always kind of keeps me feel like I'm younger than I am.
Well, he says you can follow the food truck's Facebook page to find out when and where he will be set up throughout the summer. Well, just ahead this morning, a popular series on a major streaming service finally gets the green light for a brand new season.
Rain chances are in store this week, but we could potentially see some of the hottest temperatures we've seen so far this year in the coming days. I'll have the latest in about 3 minutes.